Welcome to this first video about file management. What you're looking at right now is my Windows 10 desktop, which I like to keep nice and simple without too much stuff on it. I have all my icons to various things that I use over on the left-hand side, and that is nice and tidy for me. It's easy for me to find where I need to go. At the bottom of the Windows 10 desktop, there's an area called the taskbar down here at the bottom. The taskbar shows you things that you're currently doing, if there's room for it, but mine's already pretty crowded because I can also load it up with icons for programs that I like to use on a regular basis. So that's mostly what you're seeing down there on my taskbar are various programs that I use frequently. For instance, if I point at this, it will say Excel 2016, that's Microsoft Excel. Or if I point over here, you'll see something that says the snipping tool. That's a really great tool that comes with Windows 10, by the way, for grabbing screen captures. But the one that's most important for what I want to teach you today is called the File Explorer. It's this yellow one that looks like a yellow folder. The File Explorer is where we need to go right now, so I'm going to click on it one time. That opens the file management tool for me called the File Explorer. I want to point out the different parts of the screen to you. At the top, across the top horizontally, we have a ribbon, and the ribbon has tabs, and each tab has a variety of buttons, command buttons on it. Over on the left side here, we have what's called the navigation pane, and the navigation pane is how we move around. It allows us to see the different parts of our computer, and we can move back and forth between them using that area of the screen. On the right-hand side of the screen, we have what is called the content area. And the content area is populated with things that reside within whatever we have highlighted over here. Now, when you open the File Explorer, the computer normally brings you right to this quick access area. And that just shows you things that you've been doing recently. Because we human beings tend to repeat ourselves a lot, so the computer thinks we may want to go back and use things again that we've used recently. But that's not really what I want to deal with today. So I'm going to collapse this area here. Do you see that little pointing arrow? I'm going to click on it one time, and that collapsed the hierarchy of the quick access area. And instead, I'm going to click on this PC. And that shows you the different areas that are in my computer, as well as whatever devices are connected to my computer. That shows you all those things in the content area. But also, if I click that little arrow again next to this PC, it opens up that same information, but over here as a hierarchy, where I could move between the different areas by clicking on these options here. For instance, if I click on Documents, it shows you here all the different folders and some of the files that I have in my Documents area. If I click that arrow again, it will show you all these folders. I have a lot of folders. It shows you all the subfolders I have in my Documents area. So you can see that there's sort of a hierarchy that develops here as you create folders on your computer. I'm going to collapse that again. I'll just click one time on that little arrow, and it collapsed that Documents folder. I can also get in there by just using this content area. For instance, if I click back on this PC, there's my documents right there, and I can just double click on it, and that's another way to get into that area. I also want to point out to you the way things are looking on my computer. Every time you view a different area, you can decide how you want that particular area to display. So for instance, in my documents area, I've got really small icons for each thing because I've got so many of them. I want to be able to see as many as I can on the screen. If I go back to this PC, it's much larger icons. I don't have as much to look at here, so I can have a larger view of what my content is. And that's something that I control on the View tab of my ribbon up here, and you can control it too. If I click on View, and notice here that there are different options for the way I can make things look. There's medium icons, extra large icons, a list view, a details view that tells you a lot about the file's type and when it was first or last worked on, small icons. There's a lot of different options about how you can make something look, and it's entirely up to you and the way you like to work. As you can see, I use different views for different folders depending on what the content is. I'm going to go ahead and collapse this in the navigation pane here. And what I'd like to point out to you here is this little thing that says SFCC Green. That's my flash drive. And on a flash drive, you can create files that you would like to transport from one computer to another. I'm going to use this for the rest of this video because it doesn't have anything on it. If I click on it, you'll see that it's empty and there's nothing there. And that gives me a nice clean space to teach you about files and folders. I'd like you to notice that mine is called SFCC Green. If you have a flash drive, it will, as a matter of fact, have an entirely different name. It would probably be named with the name that was on the package. The name of the company that made your particular flash drive is usually the name that you see on it. I just named mine with a name that would tell me what was on it. So now I know that I use this for SFCC, Santa Fe Community College tasks. You'll also notice that my flash drive has the letter F assigned to it. Your flash drive, if you're using one, may not have the letter F. That letter is assigned depending on how many things you have connected to your computer. And I've got a number of external devices, so when I plugged in this flash drive, it was assigned the letter F. All right, so this is where we will do our work for learning how to create folders and to import our files to folders and to manage our content.